Hey guys, welcome to Ryan Fork again. First video. So today I want to start off the new year right. I want to start off 2024 right and not forget about 2023. So today we'll be doing top 10 albums of 2023. I've always wanted to make this list, but I didn't have a channel then, of course, but now I do, and now I want to show you guys my list. Let's see what we have here. So top 10 albums of 2023. 2023 was a great year for music for me. I think I've expanded my playlist. I've expanded, I think I listened to at least 300 albums last year. So I'm trying to do the same thing this year and post it this time and get you guys involved. So without further ado, let me show you my top 10 albums of 2023. So, but first let's start with honorable mentions. I almost forgot honorable mentions. My favorites that didn't make this list. These albums are really good, but I guess they didn't make it because of a preference. I think it all just comes down to preference on this one. But these are my honorable mentions. First up, I like to mention Lana Del Rey's There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard. This album is really great. I loved how expansive she was. She grew out of her shell. She's more confident now. She's hitting you with these hits of just Americana and all these different genres that she blends in. She's R&B, she's soul, she's pop, and then even gospel on this weird interlude. I think this album is really great. I think it's one of her best, if not her best album and her best work to this date. So I like to shout it out. Honorable mentions, Lana Del Rey, amazing album. Honorable mentions, Jessie Ware's That Feels Good. I think it's a really good disco revival album that we got last year. Last year was crazy. We got a disco revive album, Jessie Ware, and she knocked it out of the park. Off the wall Michael Jackson stuff. This album is great. Everything on this album just hits, and I think it's one of her best, if not her best. No, 2020's album was better, I think, but this one's a close second. I like all the classic odes to the disco era. There's That Feels Good. The title track in itself is the best song there. I think it's on my favorite song list or something, and I think she really did her thing on this one. I think everything just hits on this album, and I like to shout it out. But without further ado, it's time to get into the list. The top 10 albums of 2023, in my opinion. Number 10, we have The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We by Mitski. So I've never listened to Mitski. I was put onto her last year, and wow, this album is just amazing. It's pop with country and all these smooth textures. The textures are really what put this album on my top 10. It has amazing textures. This album, she really put herself into it. You can feel how close you are to the singer, the character in this whole album. And number 9 is an unlikely alternative artist by the name of Genesis Owusu, the Struggler. Genesis Owusu really did his thing on this album. I think it's one of the best rock albums of last year, and one of the best albums of mine. Number 9. It's one of the best albums of mine. Number 9. I think he really knocked it out of the park with this one. I like the themes of the roach and the concepts that he was building over there. I liked every single track on this album, and I don't think there's an artist out there who's doing what he's doing with rock music and alternative music and pop music too. Stay Blessed is so hardcore, and it's so tough, and it's so gritty. He's so arrogant, and he's so it's called bombastic on this album. He's everywhere, and he's confident and he's mean and he's tough and he's gritty. I think Struggler is like one of his best work, and I'm looking forward to 2024 if he's releasing anything. Number 8 is most unorthodox of the few. I think like this album really surprised me, especially given the track record of music that I do listen to. I think this album, 10,000 Gex, I almost forgot to say the name, 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex is my number 8 album. This album is just from front to back is just banger on banger on. I think this is the most crazy, the most inventive, the most stylistic, the most like goofy, comedic. I forgot how funny this album is. This album is so funny. Every joke hits. It's not funny in a way that like it becomes a meme album and it becomes like those YouTuber albums or something. No, this is like actually like quality asshole or something, because like this album is so amazing front to back. I loved every track, Doritos and Fritos, like I got my tooth removed, Billy and Jamie with just like this awesome metal flip that I never expected. I think this album is so. 7 is a personal favorite of mine. I didn't see people putting it on their top 10, but it's my top 10 because it's just like surreal and on all levels, and that would be We Buy Diabetic Strips by Billy Woods and Elucid Arm & Hammer. The duo is back, and it's just, of course, like who would you expect to make a better album than Arm & Hammer? Arm & Hammer came through again. Billy Woods he's on another position on this list. He's just had an amazing year, MVP for sure. Like he made one of the most experimental to date of Arm & Hammer. Let's break it down. We Buy Diabetic Strips is one of like the most experimental, the most like cohesive work they've ever put out. You have like tracks like Trauma Mike, which is like insane. It's like industrial hip hop at its finest. You have 2 JPEG Mafia produced tracks over here, and it's like they're all hitting at every angle. Like these albums are just so good. These songs, I mean, what am I saying? These songs are just so good. Number 6, we have, like, not surprisingly, she's on everyone's list. She's on everyone's radar this year. The one and only, the Caroline Polachek, Desire I Want to Turn Into You. What can I say about this album? I haven't seen it on any Grammys list, of course, but I did see that it's on Best Engineered Album, and I think it's well deserved. This album is so well produced. Everything is so meticulously looked after. Like, I'm pretty sure she took like 10 or 20 years to make this album. You would be surprised with how tight the production is, how like tasteful it is, how like on theme it is. You can say this album is just perfection at its finest. Like, the only reason it's not higher there on this list is probably because it's just too perfect for me, and I like things that are like gritty and have some like rough edges to it. But if you're looking for like perfect pop, perfect music or something, things like Random Access Memories by Daft Punk, things are just like so well produced and so like big budget. I don't know, I'm not sure if this one was big budget, but I'm sure like it must have cost time and money. Go check out Desire I Want to Turn Into You. One of the best albums of this year for sure. And number 5 is Oh Me, Oh My. And I can I can write the video essays about this album. Wait, let me put it up. Oh Me, Oh My by Lonnie Holly, an artist and a black artist who like experienced like trauma I can't even put on this video. We might get demonetized or something, because he's so like dark and he goes to these dark places on this album, and I think that's just really amazing to see someone do that. And it's mostly spoken word because the guy is really old and you can hear it in his voice, and it actually adds to the value of the record because you can feel how broken and like tired his voice is when he says that, and how powerful it is sometimes. Like on the spoken word, I Cannot Hush, and he does this in this avant-garde production, spacey production. It feels like you're floating through space when you're listening to this album. and I think it deserves a shout out. I think it deserves more recognition. I think it deserves more attention. And now we go on to, we're going deep into the top 5, so we're going like seriously good, like insanely good, like otherworldly good. And what better way to start otherworldly good than on number 4's Lahai by Sampha. Lahai is just perfection. It's perfection, but it's also like spacey and scared and like fearful and like thoughtful and like so it's a work of love. That's how I can say. It's a work of love. It's just, you can feel that Sampha has been sitting on this one for a minute. He's putting all his best work on this thing, and it's just so amazing to see. For me, as a music listener, you get like these otherworldly, carefully crafted, well thought out songs like Spirit 2.0, which did like got crazy critical acclaim from all the publications because it's just so beautiful, and it's really like the jewel of the album. I wouldn't say the best song. People say it's the best song. I'm not saying it's the best song because I just find every song on this one great. Number 3 is probably the song that's the one I really want to get out of my chest. That's probably why I made this whole channel, to be frank, because I think no one's talking about this album, and everybody needs to be talking about this album. It's Erotic Probiotic 2 by NourishedByTime. Erotic Probiotic 2 is probably the best R&B record this year, hands down. It's just 7 tracks, I think 7 or 8 tracks. He kept it really short on this one, but everything is just so punchy on this album. Like, you can just get like so many notes of old age R&B, 90s R&B, 80s R&B, all that smooth stuff, and it's so well produced. And he's a producer; he produces everything by himself. So I'm so surprised how this turned out to be this gorgeous and this otherworldly. And I think this just deserves more recognition. Please talk about NourishedByTime. Please talk about him because he's just so talented, and I just had to put him my number 3. Number 3, NourishedByTime. Please check it out. Please, for me, please check it out. I have to keep going. Number 2, we're getting there. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to the end of this video. And let's just talk about Maps. Like, what else could we talk about? Maps by Billy Woods and Kenny Siegel. Handily, like, Billy Woods is just one of those artists where anything he says, you can just crop it and just put it on a fucking picture frame because it's just so perfect, and he's just so thoughtful, and he's just so out of the box. He's just one of those artists. He's himself. Anytime he's on the mic, you can't say they're like 2 Billy Woods. There are no 2 Billy Woods. There's only one Billy Woods, and he's Billy Woods, one of the best rappers out there right now. Maps by Billy Woods. And now we're getting to number one album of this year for me and for a lot of people is Scaring the Hoes by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. Like, this wasn't a shocker. Anyone on YouTube will tell you it's Scaring the Hoes by Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia. It's such an experimental, and like, what can I even say about this? Like, it's like genre bending and this genre influencing. I think the influence of this record is what gets overlooked. Like, it's really like it's really like shifting what we perceive as rap as a genre. Like, it's really doing things for this space and this genre, and that like people don't really like take time to actually appreciate. These are things that no one's doing, and JPEG Mafia is just keeps on track after track. He just keeps on giving like all these rappers these notes on how to make music that shapes the world and like shapes like creativity as a whole. And I think that's what makes this album number 1 for me. Danny Brown pulls out. He's so funny on this record. really can't like stop these guys, and they're just like there, and they're just like scaring you from track to track. And I just have to say, this is my #1 album of 2023. So if you love this video, please leave a like, please subscribe. I'll post more videos. I'm still posting like the 2023 stuff, so you guys can see like I'm like on top of these things. So I'll post a top 30 songs of 2023, so look out for that. That would just be like the next video after this one. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Ryan Fork, let's go.